Rough night for your Portland Trailblazers as they try mightily to stick with the New York Knicks, but they can't get the job done as the Knicks run away from them early. They let the Blazers catch up a little bit, and then they run all the way away from them, all the way to a 127-97 victory. Welcome into the fifth quarter. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. If you want to join the conversation with us today, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also head to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, join the chat there. And of course, last but not least, hit us up on the text line, 88528. One of those nights for the Blazers where it looked like they might actually do it. They might make the comeback. The Blazers, I wrote these notes down. They got down big, and it didn't take long. At the end of the first quarter, it was 37-22 in favor of the Knicks. The Knicks opened up the second quarter on a 9-0 run, and before you knew it, it was 46-22. Woof! That was my note, because that was pretty bad. But then the Blazers started to find their offense. They made it a 10-point game at halftime. It was 49-59. Blazer fans were probably a little more concerned about Deni Avdija and Donovan Clingan, who both injured their left wrist or appeared to injure their left wrist as they went into the locker room. That was what was on your mind. They came out, they started the third, so everything was good, but the offense just could not get going. Blazers scored just 20 points in the third quarter. New York scored 28, and it was still feeling like there might have been a run in there, but in the fourth quarter, the Knicks put up a 40-piece, and that was it. That was it. They ran away with it. The Blazers struggled all night long, really, and that's what happens against this Knicks team. We saw this play out firsthand when the Knicks came to town. They're a well-coached team and very, very well balanced. They will strike from many, many different places. When they played the Blazers at the beginning of January, all five starters had at least 18 points. Now, they didn't all score 18 points this time around, but all five starters were in double figures. Again, the balance was there. Three different players with 20 or more, and the Blazers just didn't have an answer. And you needed that, especially on a night when both Deni Avdija struggled and Toumani Camara struggled big time. Toumani has kind of been your guy out there getting you the buckets that you need over the last few games, finally finding his offense. Not so much tonight. Not so much tonight as he struggled. He got a goose egg, 0 points up on the board for Toumani Camara, and that is not what you want if you're a Blazers fan. That's just not going to work for you in the least. He was 0 of 4 from the floor. All of them were 3-point shots. He did have 4 rebounds and an assist, but that wasn't enough to get the job done. Deni Avdija, he was 4 of 14 from the floor, so there was a struggle there as well. He had just 11 points. Donovan Clingan, 7 points and 6 rebounds, a uncharacteristically poor night for him, as he had been really figuring it out too. So that's kind of where we sat on this one. When the guys aren't going, the guys who are your core, your starters, and they are struggling, it's going to be a real rough night, because then you need the others. You need the guys on the outside to start stepping up. You need Caleb Loves, and you need Shaedon Sharps. You need all those guys to have monster games. And hat tip to those guys, because they tried. I thought Shaedon Sharp had another great game. 10 of 16 from the floor, 4 of 8 from beyond the arc, 26 points. Did leave a little bit to be desired on the defensive side of things. There was too many times he wasn't getting back quick enough, and they was leading to just easy backdoor cuts and easy buckets for the Knicks. But offensively, he was locked in. Jrue Holiday, after having a rough night in Washington, had another rough night in this one. 5 points, 4 assists, 2 of 7 from the floor. Caleb Love did chip in 12. Sidi Sissoko had a very good game off the bench, 15 points on 5 of 5 shooting. Jeremy Grant was 4 of 9 for 15 points. Robert Williams had 4 points and 11 rebounds to lead the team in that category. Overall, Blazers shot 30% from beyond the arc. They were 43% from the floor. Meanwhile, the Knicks, who are a good three-point shooting team, shot 42%, 19 of 45. They were also 48 of 99 from the floor. They had 3 block shots as a team, 29 assists, 52 rebounds to just 37 of your Portland Trailblazers, but you can start to piece things together and understand how these games come to be. Now, this night, it wasn't a close one to where you could look at free throws and say, oh, you missed those free throws. If you would have made them, would have been a different game. But similar to last night, it was the turnover bug again. 20 turnovers for your Trailblazers. And unfortunately, the Knicks, or fortunately, the Knicks only turned that into 16 points off turnovers. Meanwhile, the Blazers had 13 points off turnovers. So the Knicks weren't able to capitalize so much, but man, when you are giving the ball away so easily and so often, you're going to struggle to ever get into any semblance of offense. That's what it was tonight. One of our texters says one of those blah, blah trips, CB. First off, I read that as like you were just saying I was blah, blah, blahing. And I'm like, well, that's what happens. This is a talk radio show. Someone has to blah, blah, blah. But no, you're right. The trip is just blah. Oh, why? We knew it was going to be hard. New York's a really good team, so let's not lose sight of that. Celtics are a good team. We understand that. Losing to Washington is going to sting for a very long time. You shouldn't have lost that game. But when you lose to Toronto and then you lose this stretch of games, yeah, it hurts you a little bit. Now you come home to Cleveland, who's a very good team, and you're going to struggle in that one too unless you figure it all out. So, falling apart before the All-Star break, excuses from the coach to follow. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think there's going to be a mass amount of excuses from Thiago Splitter because he hasn't come across as that guy yet. I feel like sometimes a coach will lean that way, but I don't think there's an excuse there. I mean, he's called this team out more than once. Like, turnovers suck. You got to take care of the ball. What are we doing? Treat every possession like it's gold. We need to not wait so long to wake up. He tends to call him out a little bit, and I like that. I don't think there's going to be too many excuses there. And then the whole idea of falling apart, like, yes and no. Okay, so I get why it can feel that way. But I said to all you guys going into this that this was going to be one of the toughest 5-game stretches for the remainder of the year. This whole stretch saw them go Toronto, Boston, Washington, New York, and then they get Cleveland on Sunday. 4 of those 5 teams that they played are top teams in the Eastern Conference. Washington is the outlier, and that game they absolutely gave away. Like, they don't know what happened on that one. They shouldn't have lost that game. Too many missed free throws, the turnovers, perfect storm. But I don't know if we're necessarily hitting falling off the cliff, falling apart before All-Star break yet. There is time. This Cleveland game is going to be tough. And then after that, you get it. Like, if you can get past Phoenix, good. And then you got the Memphis games, the Utah games, Chicago games, Charlotte games. Those are the ones that you're going to want to take advantage of and win. So I'm not too worried that they lost. And in fact, if you looked at this game, the fact that they made it a game at some points, even cut it to 10, like, there was things that I like, but obviously it's just brutal when you get out and you're down by 25 before you even have a chance to blink. That's going to hurt you. As one of our texter says, it's the same one, they don't follow the coach instructions, lazy turnovers every game. I mean, yeah, they were lazy turnovers, and I don't understand why. I don't understand why. That's something that they have to fix and do their best to take care of. I think any coach will be okay with the turnover that is not necessarily I'm trying to word this right without stumbling over myself. Any coach will be okay with the turnover that wasn't forced. Like, it's if I'm playing on offense and I see a guy cut and I try to close that, get the pass through that window, but the window closes, I'm trying to make a play. Coach isn't going to be upset with that. Now, if I just see the guy going and I just lazily bounce the pass and there was a giant window that was never going to close, but it closed because of my laziness, coach is going to be mad at that. That's what I'm trying to say. Because there are different levels of passing and different levels of what is okay and what is not. The lazy ones will irritate all of us and a coach all night long. The non-lazy ones, we're actually trying to make a play. That one a coach can live with. And there was a couple of those lazy ones tonight. And those are the ones they got to figure out a way to get rid of. That's factual. So I get what you're laying down there. Dirt Mark Fritz says, left the game in the 4th to go watch the Melania instead. Oh, I didn't know what I was walking into there, but well played. Well played. That's That's well played. I like that. That one made me laugh. I've seen the viral photos going around of the empty theaters for that documentary that like no one asked for. Also, like let's be real, like documentaries with like theatrical releases, those tend to just do well no matter what. Like Super Size Me was a cult classic. Bowling for Columbine, those are the ones I remember as a kid that people like really latched onto. One like, oh man, what are you doing on Friday night? You want to go hit up Division Street Theater to go watch this awesome documentary? Oh, thanks for making me giggle. Thanks for making me giggle. Also, the greatest documentary of all time is This Is Spinal Tap. That is not a mockumentary. That's a documentary. That is a real band. Don't tell me otherwise. Those songs are real. Mockumentaries are the way to go. Mockumentaries are awesome. Documentaries are really good too, but I'm not carving time out of my night to go to the theater to watch that. But thanks for the chuckle, my friend. Thanks for the chuckle. But now that we get back to basketball, and now that I really want to go watch like a documentary now, I really want to go watch Spinal Tap. I still have a book to read. So one of our listeners got us, which is awesome. The biography of that band, Harry Shearer, Simpsons goat. Heck yeah. But that's the skinny of it. Lazy turnovers, lazy basketball. A couple guys showed up, a couple guys struggled. And you can't afford to do that against anybody in the NBA, let alone the New York Knicks. When you do it against the New York Knicks, they're gonna stomp you. That's what it was tonight. The same texter who's been texting in nonstop here, which I love. That's right. Give us the content. I love the interaction. The offenses look terrible since Drew took over the ball. It's a struggle with Drew because he is not in a rhythm. It's clear that he's not in a rhythm. He has struggled a little bit since he's come back. I still like the fact that he knows how to slow the offense down and they can play with some semblance of just actually knowing what they're trying to do. It's just sometimes I don't know what the offense is trying to do. I think that's hard for everyone. How many times have we seen this go into like, we're just going to lazily do a pick and a roll and just take a 3-pointer that we shouldn't take and, pick, roll around it, and maybe I'll drive, but I won't. It's just, sometimes this offense goes ISO, and it throws you off. But tonight there was multiple reasons why. Like you said, Denny looked bad. Drew has had a couple off nights here, which is just uncharacteristic. Jeremy hasn't been shooting the ball incredibly well, even though he had a better game tonight. This team is not good enough yet to survive off nights. There are teams in this NBA who are legit championship contenders who they have an off night and they can survive it. They can walk out with a W. Oklahoma City can win on an off night. San Antonio can win on an off night. New York, Boston, Detroit, those teams can win on off nights. Portland is not that team yet. So we'll understand. They're going to work on this. We all know roster moves will come eventually when they land Giannis Antetokounmpo. We know that's happening, right? But no, that's my breakdown. Dirt said he stopped watching the game in the fourth quarter. I powered through it, but I definitely stopped taking notes at halftime. Let's just put it that way. It didn't just you didn't have the horses. It just didn't feel like, even though they cut it to 10 and it felt like there might be a chance, it never really felt like, okay, there's the run. We're going to get right back in this. It always felt like New York's going to make the run in just a second. And they did. Hand you the worst loss of the season. All right, this is the fifth quarter. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, who's he talking about? Dirt Monk and our texters. Well, that's our YouTube chat and our text line. Get over to YouTube, type in Rip City Radio. You can join the chat there. Or, like the texters are doing right now, just grab your phone, text 88528, and lay it all on the line. Give us something to talk about. We can talk about what happened tonight, how bad the offense looked. I'll agree with you. I can disagree with you. Either way, we're just going to have a fun debate about basketball. That's why we're all here. That's why we're all here. Except every single night I say, hopefully we're breaking down a Trailblazers victory. And I don't like when we're breaking down Trailblazers losses. Because the frustrating part about the losses, honestly, is you can start to pinpoint little things in these losses that are deja vu type stuff. Oh, they turned the ball over again and they lost the game badly. Their average for turnovers on the season is just under 17. And if you guys have been listening to me, you know that if you go back through the last 10 games where they were playing real well, their turnovers per game were less than their average. Now you come back to this stretch of bad games, and all of a sudden that turnover is higher than their average. It's not coincidental that when you take care of the ball, you tend to play better. Pretty simple stuff. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the fifth quarter. When we return, we still got your drive of the night, shot of the night, coach's corner, question mark, and a game ball to hand out, all here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you. If you want to join the conversation with us tonight, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also hit us up on the text line 88528 or go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio. Blazers lose a tough one tonight, 127-97 on the road at Madison Square Garden to the New York Knicks. And the overall stretch here, not great. That's 4 in a row now that the Blazers have dropped. The good being that was legit competition. We're talking about, again, 4 of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. That outlier is that Washington game, which will sting for a while. That one shouldn't have happened. It's got me tongue-tied just trying to put it into words how bad it is. They came into that game as the worst team in the NBA, and they got you. They got you. You weren't focused. You weren't ready. They got you. Now the Blazers, after losing 4 in a row, have fallen down to 10th in the play-in race because the Clippers continue to play well. The Clippers have won 3 in a row. They're 9-1 in their last 10. Keep in mind that team was on the outside looking in weeks ago. They had a tall hill ahead of them. Now they're climbing it, and they're climbing it fast. And you have the Golden State Warriors, who may continue to fall a little bit as well after losing Jimmy Butler. So what's going to happen here? The Blazers have to find games to win. They're now 3 games below 500 after eclipsing the 500 mark, albeit briefly. But now they're struggling just a little bit. They were 23-22. They're now 23-26. They have a 3.5 game lead over Dallas and Memphis. And keep in mind that on February 6th and 7th, they have a back-to-back 2 games against Memphis. They're going to need those games to continue to push and gain a little ground and keep their play-in hopes alive. This team is still good. I don't think anyone is really arguing otherwise. This team, however, is flawed. And that's what you would expect, quite honestly, when we're dealing with a play-in team. I still think they're going to get a lot more wins throughout the rest of the year. We knew this stretch of games was going to be tough, and it's proving to be tough. I think at this point, I expected them through this stretch of games to I expected them to beat Toronto. I had them losing to Boston. I had them losing to New York, and I had them beating Washington. So I had them at 2-2 with a tough one against Cleveland to decide it. And quite frankly, I think I had them losing to Cleveland. And if they would have went 2-3 over this stretch of 5 games, it would have been okay with it. The fact that you're looking at the possibility going 0-5 really, really hurts you in the long run. The good part is, as we've talked about many times, that schedule gets easier. After this, still got 2 games against Memphis. You got Utah on February 12th. You got Chicago, Charlotte, Atlanta, Memphis. That's a 4-game stretch right there of winnable games. You have the Pacers on March 8th and March 18th. That's another set of, you would think, winnable games. One of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference. Brooklyn's still on that schedule. So we hope they get some of those wins. And right now, what you're seeing the team lacking is just they're just lacking their cohesiveness. They're lacking their ability to just move and find that groove and just play within themselves at that moment. These guys who have missed injuries coming back, Denny playing really hot and then coming back, they're just out of step. They're out of sync. They got to get synced back up. The Bluetooth is not connecting properly. They need to find a way to connect it. And speaking of the standings and how the Blazers are looking, let's see how things are shaking up around the NBA tonight. Plenty of action going on outside of what went down in Madison Square Garden. Currently, with 3 minutes and 11 seconds left in the third quarter, the Suns lead the Cavs, the Blazers' next opponent, 88-67. Dillon Brooks has 22 points for the Suns. The Clippers trailed the Nuggets 89-80 with 40 seconds left in the third. Nikola Jokic making his return to the lineup. He has 20 points, 9 boards, and 3 steals. Halftime in Utah, a battle of a couple bottom dwellers, even though Utah is going to try to make a run here at some point too, because they got some nice young talent. I don't think they're a play-in team, but they are capable of winning games. They currently trail the Nets 54-52. Cam Thomas has 19 for the Nets. And George has 19 for the Jazz. A minute left in the first. Pistons 39, Warriors 34. Draymond Green has 9 points. Duncan Robinson with 12 for Detroit. And final scores around the association. The Lakers 142, the Wizards 111. Luka with a 37-point, 11 rebound, 13 assists, triple-double. The Raptors fall to the Magic 130 to 120. Desmond Bane with 32 points to lead Orlando. The Celtics 112, the Kings 93. Peyton Pritchard 29-8 for Boston. And the Pelicans down the Grizzlies 114 to 106. Derek Queen had 22 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists for NOLA. Jaren Jackson Jr., 16 points, 9 rebounds, 3 steals for Memphis. And of course, final score in Madison Square Garden. The Knicks 127, the Trailblazers 97. So just a rough night for Portland, rough couple nights for Portland. And I think get back home, figure it out against Cleveland, and just find your groove. Get in sync. That's what needs to happen. Plain and simple. You just need to get back to playing the basketball you can play. And quite frankly, a weird little scheduling quirk that may or may not have anything to do with this. But the fact that the Blazers did just play 3 straight back-to-backs ahead of this game against New York, that's crazy to me. It's crazy that we're trying to eliminate back-to-backs, and the Blazers played 3 straight. They played the Lakers and Sacramento back-to-back. Then they played Miami and Toronto back-to-back. Then they played Boston and Washington back-to-back. And those last 2 back-to-backs, that was 4 games in 6 days. That's pretty intense if you think about it. And then they got New York. Now they get a day off. They'll get Cleveland on Sunday, Phoenix on Tuesday, Memphis on Friday and Saturday, and then close out that homestand with the 76ers on Monday, the 9th of February. A nice little 5-game homestand. Then you hit the road for Minnesota and Utah, and then you get All-Star break. So you have 5, 6, 7 games the rest of the way. If you can go 500 in that time into All-Star break, still think you're in a good spot in the long run. If you can get both those wins against Memphis, steal one from Phoenix, I think it's going to look real good. Real good. But just understand where you are. Get to the break. Enjoy the break. And then tackle that second half of the season, even though it's the final third of the season. Just tackle it with ferocity, healthy, ready to go. Maybe you can even get Blake Wesley and Scoot Henderson back by then and change some stuff too. All right, this is the 5th quarter. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. 88528 is the text line. And of course, go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio to join the chat. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we're going to head to the coach's corner and hand out a game ball and get out of here. Let everyone enjoy the rest of their Friday night. Of course, listening to the 5th quarter is a great way to enjoy it in and of itself. Maybe you're at dinner right now, just listening to it on the phone, waiting for the waitress to come over, ask you what you want, just passing the time. We're here for you. We're one big Rip City family. We're having fun the best we can after a tough Blazers loss. We're going to take a quick break, but before we do, it's time for your shot of the night.
Live from the Coors Light Studios, Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment. Choose chill. Time for the 5th quarter shot of the night on your home of the Portland Trailblazers. 620 Rip City Radio.
Over to Sharp. Goes left, backs it up. 17 seconds on the shot clock. Blazers down 16. Sharp 3-pointer from the wing. Buries it again. Sharp's got 14 in the half. His 4th made 3. And it's a 13-point game. 56-43.
to the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you. It is time now to head down to the coach's corner. Let's hear from head coach Thiago Splitter following that loss to the Knicks.
Coach, what did you see in this one tonight?
I think all of this stuff that we've been talking before the game and taking care of the ball didn't transfer to the actual game. We turned over the ball 20 times, and all of the big dogs in the team had 3 or 4 turnovers. So, lack of focus, lack of concentration there, and doing better job passing the ball, driving the ball, taking the rim and kicking out. So that we did very poorly. We got to get better. We got to shake that off, watch film, get better, and play the game with more force and more purpose and more focus. And then when you turn over the ball, you cannot just put your head down and not run back. That's what we did. And they just were way better than us. Attacking the rim, shooting the ball, rebounding, and everything.
How would you sum up this trip?
Not very good. Not very good. We know that. We know that we are way better than what we, present these last games. Like I said, we got to go home, figure it out. There's new guys coming back. Shake that rust. Danny's not 100%. We're going to figure out what we're going to do with him. So a lot of things going on at the same time.
Are you thinking at all about health notwithstanding, are you thinking at all about some kind of starting lineup change? 3 out of the last 4 games, you guys start out like this. Is that something you're thinking about?
Maybe, yeah. That's also something to think about it. But honestly, I don't think it's that, because we tried different lineups throughout the game, and everybody was not performing well. So it's not even lineups or anything like this. It's just got to do it better.
Coach, as you said, Danny's not 100%. So I wanted to ask what came into the decision of keep playing him, even though the margin was pretty big. Was it him wanting to stay in the game or something else? Yeah,
sometimes you want to, see him try better, do better. I don't know if it's mental, physically, he's not 100%. He's not driving with the same force. We got to go there, check, talk to him. Medical staff, whatever, figure out what's going on.
Who is the MVP tonight for the Trailblazers? It's time for Game Balls on Fifth Quarter, live from the Coors Light Studios. Coors Light, choose chill.
Time now to hand out a game ball after this one, and it's always hard to hand out a game ball after a team struggled like this. Can you give the game ball out to a former Blazer just because it's like handing it to a Blazer? Josh Hart, 9 of 17, 20 points, 1 of 4 from beyond the arc, an all-time one that got away from me. I love Josh Hart and wish he were in Portland still. Understand the business and how teams move around, but Josh Hart's been incredible. So I might give him the game ball tonight. If I was giving it to a Blazer, I'd probably have to give it to City Sissoko, quite honestly. 15 points, 5 of 5, 2 of 2 from beyond the arc, 5 of 6 from the free throw, 3 of 4 from the free throw line. Did a lot of little things. Shade Sharp had a really good offensive game. Still need more from him defensively, but the City Sissoko was pretty good tonight. So that's where we're going. City and Josh Hart, because he's a Blazer fan. So it helps. A couple texts during the conversation here. Below 500 when the All-Star reserves are announced is how the voters will justify Denny not making it. Record isn't supposed to matter, but it does in Portland. Always have to look at the worst possible outcome as a Blazer fan. LOL. And as I commented back to him, it's dumb. The record shouldn't matter. It's 100% like who's the best player, and they should be in. And Denny has clearly been an all-star. Teams are game planning for him. That's how good he has been. And the numbers he's put up, he should absolutely be an all-star. But sometimes awards and votings are always weird too. I mean, we've seen MVP awards. Oh, because this team's record is better. Doesn't matter. if you have a bunch of guys who are equally good and, oh, well, their record is a couple games better. Well, there's other factors to that too. But my eye test tells me that the guy that you don't want to vote because he has 5 more losses than the other guy was the better player. But MVPs are just handed out at, oh, they did this or they did that. And it's coach of the year almost always goes to some coach who did really well. And their team was like, oh, top team in the East, he's coach of the year. It doesn't always, mean a thing. Sometimes there's other reasons and guys can be voted in too. That's my rant. It's like the MVP is always weird. Most valuable player. And like, okay, well, MVP was actually handed out to the best player in the league every year. It'd be like, oh yeah, LeBron James won it for 20 straight years. That is what it is. But then the texter all came back in with, I agree 100%. I've just seen so many Portland snubs throughout the year, seemingly due to team record. Randolph, Aldridge, Lillard. Yeah, no, you're absolutely not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong. And the record matters to a point. But at the same time, when you're the best teams in the league, your guys are usually playing pretty well too. And I think part of it, to be quite honest, is the teams who are playing better are getting more nationally televised games. Therefore, they're getting more eyeballs on them and they're getting more voters to see them. And yeah, that's part of it as well. That is part of it as well. So just keep, that's why you guys got to keep on voting for Denny when those votes were open. They obviously are closed now, but you got to do your part, get him out there. He deserves to be an all-star, which is really, really fun to say. And I don't think any Blazer fan has ever been twisted about who is an all-star on their team and who isn't. It's like not every single year the guy who's just playing the best deserves to be an all-star. Like, oh, Anthony Simons deserves to be an all-star because he's our best player and has been for the last 2 years ever since Dame left. Like, no, I feel like you got to earn it. He earned it. And Damian Lillard earned it too, to your point. Like, how many times does Dame, like, he was the fill-in a few times because of injuries, or he only gets to be a reserve. And it's like the guy's outside of Steph Curry was like one of the second best guard in the West. Like, what, he deserves to play. Aldridge had a legit argument for being, a top 2, top 3 forward center in the entire league for a minute there. So you're right. You're absolutely right. Just get Denny in and I'll be okay. But on the other side, the selfish part of me does say, well, do you want Denny to go to the All-Star game? Because, if Denny could take those extra days off and the Blazers could be fully healthy heading into the last third of the season, that wouldn't be bad either. That would not be bad either. But seeing your team in the All-Star game does feel good. But also, lots of alsos today. Does it matter if your guy makes the All-Star game anymore? Because they all wear the same uniform. Part of the cool lore of All-Star Game used to be when they wore their team's uniforms, not the designed Nike uniform or whatever, so that, people have more things to go by. It's like, no, I loved All-Star Game when it was like, East wears their colored, West wears their whites, but they wear their team uniform. I always thought that was awesome as a kid, and they really should bring that back. So that when Denny makes an All-Star game, there he is, and he's sitting next to Steph and Wemby and Jokic and all those guys. And, you see the Denver Nuggets guy pass to the Spurs guy who passes to the Blazers guy for a bucket. I always thought that was cool. Bring it back. Bring it back. All right, that is going to do it for the 5th quarter tonight. Thanks to everyone who chimed in on the text line and the YouTube chat. Everybody, thanks for those comments and keeping the conversation rolling. Once again, final score: Blazers fall to the Knicks 127-97, ending their 3-game road trip. They come back home on Sunday to take on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Tip-off for that game at 6 o'clock, meaning I will have Blazers game day for you starting at 4. Once again, final score from Madison Square Garden. Brendan asked me real quick before we leave. Brendan asked me, he's like, Burkhardt, you've been to Madison Square Garden, right? I said, I have. He's like, what's your take on it? I was talking to Travis, and he said that, it's got all the lore and stuff, but it's not the greatest arena. My instant response was, it's a dump. It's a dump. He just laughed. I go, but it is like the most nostalgia-filled, want-to-watch a basketball game in a dump ever. I love Madison Square Garden. I'm not going to get it twisted, though. Like, it is not full of awesome amenities. The concourses are not giant. But it is awesome to go watch a game at MSG, man. There is something so cool about just plopping down in the middle of New York, going to watching a game, leaving and just walking out into the hustle and bustle that is New York at all hours of the day. I'm telling you, shows its age for sure. It could use some facelifts or more, but it is awesome. If you can ever get to MSG, get there. Maybe you'll agree with me. It's a dump, but it's a beautiful one. Never change, MSG. Never change, though. Once again, final score, Knicks fall to the Blazers, 127-97. They play Cleveland on Sunday. Blazers game day starts your coverage at 4 o'clock. Get some rest. The Blazers need it. Hopefully they look better on Sunday. Until then, Rip City, I'll talk to you on the next one.
620 Rip City Radio,